Hello beautiful people, I welcome you back to my channel. This is Eke Nyami and this is my YouTube channel. Today I want to be talking about a topic that we don't discuss on a regular basis: divorce. There are a lot of people who have come and said I want a divorce and they don't know how to go about it. And so in this video I'll just be touching on how you can get a divorce in Ghana, and then I'll speak a little bit about spousal properties. I am not a lawyer, so I'll just make it as brief and as simple as possible. I won't go into details. But before I go into that, I just want to tell you that in Ghana, the court recognizes all the three types of marriages: the marriage under the ordinance, the Islamic marriage, and the customary marriage. And there is a general rule that every marriage should be dissolved in the court. But because most people, we don't know that when we do customary marriage, I've sent the drinks to him because we didn't go to court to register the marriage. I don't need to go to court to get a divorce. Yes, you can go scot-free with that. But when one party decides to take you up, when there is a problem, that is where we will show you that there is law in this country. Next thing I want to talk about is that there is also this misconception that it is only when I go to court that when there is a divorce, the other party can claim part of my properties. No, that is why I said that the court recognizes all the three types of marriages. I've already done a video about the three types of marriages, the processes and procedures to get married in Ghana. If you haven't watched that video, I'm going to put a link of that video in the description of this particular one. You can watch it when you finish with this one. So the only difference between the customary marriage and the marriage under the ordinance is that the customary marriage is potential polygamous and the marriage under the ordinance is monogamous, meaning that when you marry someone in the home without going to court, you can marry an additional wife. But when you go to court, you don't have the right to marry any other person. When you marry again, while the first marriage has not been dissolved, that is a crime and the court can deal with you. So please, whether customary marriage, whether Islamic marriage, whether marriage under the ordinance, the court recognizes them. And when there is a divorce, when the court decides to share the spousal properties, the same way that the marriage under the ordinance would have been shared, that will be the same way that the customary marriage will be shared. So please, don't say I don't want to go to court because of properties. No, the court recognizes all these marriages. So now let's go into divorce. A lot of people will say, I want to get a divorce. You ask them, why do you want to get a divorce? And they will say that my husband doesn't make time for me. I'm not happy in the marriage. I'm emotionally stressed. I'm emotionally downcast. I get you. But in this country, there are only 5 grounds that the court can grant divorce. And that is when the marriage is beyond repairs. The marriage is beyond repairs. There are 5 ways to show that the marriage is beyond repairs. Number 1 is adultery. If one party is able to convince the court that the other one has committed adultery, then the court can grant a divorce based on that. And you don't have to see the person having sex. You don't have to get pictures or videos to prove. You can get a circumstantial proof, meaning that if there have been anything that insinuates or that proves that the person has committed adultery, and you've tried as much as possible to work out, but it's still not working, then the court can base on that and grant you a divorce. Number 2, the person has behaved so unreasonable that any reasonable person will not tell you to go back and stay into that marriage. And it can be anything, any behavior. You explain it to anybody, the next question the person will ask is that, so why are you still in the marriage? Any form of unreasonable behavior that will make any reasonable person say, no, this marriage you cannot go in, the court can base on that and grant you a divorce. Number 3, when you have been separated for 2 years, you can be living in the same house, but you don't do anything that married couples do. And by separation for 2 years, 6 months prior to you filing for the petition, there should be nothing like sex, or there should be nothing like anything that married couples do. So when you've been separated for 2 years, the court can base on that and grant you a divorce. Number 4 is when one party has deserted the marriage for 5 years. You just decided to pack your things and go without the marriage being dissolved, but you just deserted the marriage for 5 years. When the other party gets a lawyer and says, I want a divorce, the court can base on that and grant the person the divorce. And the last thing is that you've tried everything to make the marriage work and the marriage is not still working. You've talked, you've gone for counseling, family members have sat down, the church has come in, and so it's just not working. When that also happens, the court can base on that and grant a divorce. But one thing you have to know is that you can only petition for a divorce after 2 years of marriage. The only exception with this law is that when you go back into the marriage, your life is at risk. And by your life being at risk, it includes your life and the life of your children. So if it is not a matter of your life being at risk, and it's a matter of, oh, he's not sleeping with me, he's not giving me shop money, he's not being responsible, he's not making time for me, I'm stressed, that one would have to be after 2 years before you can file for a petition to get a divorce. So that said, and now let's go into spousal properties. Now you decide to get a divorce. You have one of these reasons: the marriage is beyond repairs and you want to get a divorce, and then you are wondering how are the properties going to be shared. One thing you have to know is that no matter the type of marriage you did, everybody in the marriage has the right to spousal properties. It means that I can do my properties as an individual and we can do properties together as a couple. But please be careful of any domestic relationship you get in the name of marriage, because there are a lot of people who have married, but in the law, they are not married because they kind of did something wrong in the process of getting married. For example, if you decide to do marriage under the ordinance at an event center, at a place that is not registered, as a conference center, you need a special license to do that. So if you don't talk to the registrar and then explain to him or her that this is where you want to do it, and for the registrar to advise you accordingly, you might do something that might not be marriage in the first place. For example, another example is that there are a lot of traditional activities that looks like marriage but it's not marriage. So don't let someone throw dust into your eyes. For example, in my culture, when a lady gives birth, the family can say, okay, come and pay bosika, come and pay knocking between the teens. And when you do that, it might be similar to you marrying the person. So you think that, oh, my area, they have already married the person. No, that is not marriage. So be careful whatever that you are doing, whatever procedure and process that you are doing, and know that this is the right thing that I'm doing and it is marriage. And once again, I've done a video about processes and procedures of the various types of marriages in Ghana. If you haven't watched that, please try and watch that video after this one. Now, let's talk about property settlement. As I said, I am not a lawyer, so I'm going to summarize it. Upon the resolution of marriage, when one party is seeking a share in the properties that they did together, the person can get a lawyer, and the lawyer will advise the person however way he or she has to go about it. But there were a few challenges initially. In the olden days, most women were housewife, full-time housewife, and so the man would say, you were not working, I'm the one that I was working, and so whatever property I did with land and house and other things, it is in my name. And so when they go to court, the court will say, okay, prove to the court that you contributed financially to the property. And if the woman was not able to prove it, then it means that you were not part of the property. Then this thing were going back and forth. So a case came, Mensah versus Mensah. So Mensah versus Mensah's case changed the distribution of properties in Ghana. So what happened was that the man was working, the woman was a full-time housewife. Then they decided to do a palm oil business. So they will do everything. They will do the plantation, the farm, everything, and then they will produce the palm oil. At the end of the day, they will bring it to the market and sell. Now, when there was a divorce, the man said, you were not working, you didn't contribute anything to the business, I was doing everything. And the court said, okay, the woman should prove that she contributed. And the woman said, at the end of the day, I'll go to the market, go to the salesperson, take the sales book and bring it home. My husband will go through the sales book because he was doing his own job. He will go through the sales book, everything. The following morning, he will give it to me and I'll send it back to them. And then the court said, okay, that is her own way of contributing. Aside that, she was also doing domestic duty. She was cooking for you. She was washing doing laundry, doing cleaning. You weren't paying her for that. And she was giving you a peaceful life at home for you to be able to do whatever that work that you were doing. And so that was her own contribution. And so this thing went back and forth. And then in 2020, an act was passed, and the act stated that if a married couple during the time they were married acquired a property, that is a landed property, and that landed property was acquired in the name of the man, the law will presume that it's for both of them until the man can come and show a signed consent by the wife saying that this property was for my husband alone. If the property is in the name of the woman, it will be presumed that the man bought it for the woman as a gift, and so it is for the woman. Now, if the property is in the name of the man cannot use that property for a loan. The man cannot sell that property. If he wants to sell it, he should sell 50% of it. If he wants to use it for a loan, the wife should be aware and the wife should also sign. So if you want to get a divorce in Ghana, please get a lawyer. Go through the procedures and the processes. But you should get one of these reasons that I mentioned, and then a marriage should be beyond repairs. Other than that, if you think you can work it out, I think you should be able to work it out. Because marriage, you took the vow that for better, for worse. Though marriage is not do or die, but if you can work it out, please put in the effort. If not, then you can get yourself a lawyer and then go through the divorce. Thank you so much for watching this video today, and I really hope that I've helped. Kindly subscribe to my channel if you haven't done that, and I'll definitely see you in the next video. Nyamen Kang.